Good evening and welcome you all on this Saturday evening on behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association. I am Giriraj Dave, PR committee member. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Sanjay Chakraborty. Although he doesn't need any introduction, but it's my part of my duty, I have to introduce him for the members who are coming first time. Sanjay is a seasoned marketing communications professional with around 3 decades of hands-on experience in handling various marketing and brand portfolios and across categories. His expertise and keen interest lies in understanding the consumer behavior and insight and providing effective strategies and solutions. He is the force behind the success of many brands of repute and has left an indefinite footprint in the success of innumerable brands in the marketing world. To put it simply, Sanjay Chakraborty is a passionate, enthusiastic, go-getter, dependable, transparent, amiable professional with a multi-faced and versatile personality, creating value for his associates and personal and professional lives. So I welcome Mr. Sanjay Chakraborty on behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association. So today he has chosen a very good subject. Naming a brand is an art or science. And your brand is my favorite subject and Mr. Sanjay Chakraborty is my favorite speaker. So over to you, sir.
Hello. Good evening, friends. First of all, thank you for coming on Saturday, on the peak time to this event, and thank you, Giriraj Bhai, for enhancing the expectation of the audience by giving such an introduction, which I always tell, right? So, the subject, which is naming a brand, is an art or a science. I am not an artist sitting here who will show you the art of creating a brand. Neither I am a scientist who will tell that you can do certain things and become scientist, but I'll definitely share few of the experiences which I have encountered in my professional journey, interacting with a lot of brands, talking about brand names. So, there are a lot of myths which are governing in the industry. And the other day I was talking to someone, he told that it's my favorite subject and I had given more than 200 names to people in the world. So I thought it's as jitna wo bata raha utna easy nahi hai, right? So I was surprised. I wanted to meet him and click a photograph with him, a person who can give 200 brands. Because in my career, it took at least 2 months to decide on a name, and I'll tell you why. Okay. So before we start, let's pick our brains. So a lot of people sitting here are also quiz enthusiasts, and they have answered a lot of my answers in my previous sessions. So let's pick our brand. Can someone tell me how did AK-47 get its name? Yeah, please.
A refers to automatic. A is inventor name and 47 year of 47.
Yeah, you're right. So Mikhail Kalashnikov was the person who invented this gun, and that's why it was called AK-47. 47 the year when it actually started, it began. The practice was there, so that's why it was said AK-47. So this is the name which was given to them because of this reason. How did SR get its name? You heard about SR Steel and SR. How did SR get its name? Anybody who can tell? Yes, sir.
It's from S and R, Shashi and Ravi Rudra.
Yeah, Shashi and Ravi Ruya. That's why I also put my name as SKC. That is Sanjay Kumar Chakraborty. Yeah, so that is the reason. SR Group is an Indian multinational conglomerate and construction company founded by Shashi Ruya. So that's a Shashi Ruya says S and Ravi Ruya is R. So that's why it's called SR. Thank you, sir. In 1969. Now this is a very interesting one, very lengthy one. How did IKEA get its name? IKEA. Can anyone tell me? IKEA. It's a name, it's an abbreviation of a name. And how did it come into existence? Okay, I'll tell you. The simple 4-letter IKEA is actually the initials of the founder, Ingvar Kamprad, who grew up in a farm called L.M. Triad and known as Alt Triad, which was near the village of Egunard, and thus the name IKEA is technically the acronym of Ingvar Kamprad Etienne Egunard. So it is a village, and the person's name, that's why it's called in short form IKEA. अपने साउथ में होता है ना PVN नायर, right? So it is a village name and all that. So same way IKEA came into existence. This is a very interesting one. How did Tata Sumo gets his name? This you might be knowing. Sumo. Who was he? Of? Great answer. So it has nothing to do with Sumo Pelwan. It is to tell you about name which came by a person who created it. So Tata Sumo was the name for that. How did Digjam gets his name? Digjam is a shooting brand, right? So how did this come? Yeah, sir. So हाँ जामनगर से जाम आ गया. What about Dig? हाँ, who was Digvijay? हाँ, कौन है दिग्विजय सर? Yeah, so that's why it's called Digjam. Yeah, so it was Digvijay Singh, Ranjit Singh, who the Ranjit cricket player. Okay, how did Wipro gets his name? आपको लग रहा होगा यार ये डिलीवर करने आ रहा है कि हमसे मांग रहा है आंसर, है ना? सब कुछ तो हमसे पूछ लिया. Yeah, it's the abbreviation of Western India Vegetable Products Limited, later abbreviated as Wipro, and it was started by Azim Premji's father called Mohammad Premji. Okay, so that is. So these are some interesting way how names are created. I'll get you some more way of doing it. There's a company called Alidac Healthcare. So it was from Cadila. So it's the reverse of Alidac. Alidac's reverse of Cadila. So if you read from right to left, it becomes Alidac. So it was a division of Cadila, so it was called as Alidac. There was another company which is called Autumn Fans. So it became from Metro. So don't you think it's a very interesting world of naming? So naming a brand, and very interesting, what's in the name that which we call a rose, by any other name it will smell as sweet. कुछ भी नाम दोगे, it will smell the same. Yeah. So today we have a structure which says brand identity structure in the world of business. What are the structures in brand which is happening in today's business world? Then the architecture formats. I'll also take you through the brand architectures which is happening and how the brand names are given in the architecture. So brand name. What is a brand name? A brand name identifies what you are offering usually, differentiates you from the competitors, evoke positive emotions and associations, simulate curiosity and interest, boost brand recall, and inspires and motivates the team. Even a great name can't salvage an ill-conceived or poorly executed idea, and it certainly alone can't convey every relevant marketing message. A name itself cannot do anything, right? But if you want to build a strong brand, a name is memorably captured, and your brand essence is the foundation of all it follows. I'll explain you when we go to the future slides. I'll explain you in length what I'm trying to say. But before that, let's understand the difference between brand name and brand. There's a difference between brand name. So if you have a brand name, doesn't mean that you have created a brand. It's just a name. So what happens here? A brand name is first triggered to communication with the target group. It is one of the part of the overall brand. A brand encompasses all of the experiences and expectation that have come to associated with a product or service of the customer mind. At the time of naming, it has nothing more than a thinking. It is either rational or emotional. It's nothing more than that. But a branding is a long process. It is a continuous process and constant process of creating an image. That is the process. So having a name doesn't make any difference unless you create an image out of it. It is the stage when the brand name is there. It's just the stage. It can be subjective, which I like, the others may not like. That's the biggest challenge in naming, right? Brand is a continuous process of creating image. In brand positioning, if the brand positioning is right, the brand name adds a great value to the brand equity in a longer run, and initially it is just a name. For example, if I kept it as a name as Thumbs Up, But when you spoke about it, that's a macho, it's a adventurous, it's a bold name, then it may add, that thumbs up may add to that positioning. So that is can help, but it is at a later stage. A name between, I can't say, yeah. The name, the brand with time and marketing, because of the time and constant marketing efforts, it can have a perception of the brand. So very important is not the name. It is what you make out of the name is very important. So you keep a name and you think it's really a brand, no, it will never be a brand. What you make out of that brand is very important. If in earlier context, if I would have given you a name called Tata, आप शायद मुझे निकाल देते कि टाटा मीन्स बाय बाय यार. Why you are talking to me about Tata? Tata नाम तो होना ही नहीं चाहिए सर. टाटा का मतलब तो बाय बाय. Consumer will not buy from me. But you know what it is now, right? So it was a name, just a name, but what you made out of that name is very important. There's a brand in Ahmedabad called Wagh Bakri, right? So you may say, Wagh Bakri नाम कैसे रख सकते हो? If I go to the door and tell him कि अपना नाम ऐसा Wagh Bakri रखते हैं, so you know what will happen to me. But what you made out of that name is very important. It can be any name, but what you make out of that name is very, very important. So majority of the brand names works if presented well. Okay. So there are types of naming. When you sit and start naming ना, don't just think रास्ते में बैठ के लिख रहे हैं हम कुछ का ये नाम भी अच्छा है, वो नाम भी अच्छा है, ये नाम भी अच्छा है. Don't do that. There are certain ways through which, there are certain rules through which you think. So there are types of brand names like descriptive names, suggestive names, founder's name, abstract names, coined names, acronyms, and numerical. I'll explain one by one, each of them. And you will understand that these are the directions through which you start thinking about names. When you talk about descriptive names, these are the names that clearly describes the goods or services being offered. Very clearly ये describe करती है. Descriptive type के name जो होते हैं, it clearly describes कि what you are offering. For example, Toys R Us, obviously it will work on toys. Book My Show is for booking the show. Cartoon Network, Food, Gujarat Samachar, or you know, Pizza Hut. You know very clearly descriptive है कि Pizza Hut है तो pizza ही बेचता होगा, और food है तो food के बारे में ही बात कर रहा होगा, और गुजरात समाचार तो definitely गुजरात के बारे में समाचार दे रहा होगा, right? So it's a descriptive name, very clearly. The next comes suggestive names. Suggestive names describe the features and benefit of the products or the service being offered, but less directly. It will not say directly. गुजरात समाचार जैसे या food जैसे directly नहीं बोलेगा. It will suggest what it does. It will say the benefit. It mixes both USP and the benefit and an emotional value or experience in the name. I'll explain you. I'll give you some examples. Okay, how does a suggestive name is worked out? It doesn't give you directly what it does. It's not a descriptive one, but it suggests what it does. Example, Subway, UTV, Bindas. So Bindas is the nature of the television or the program. So it gives you a suggestive name what it does. LinkedIn, it will link you. So it is suggestive. It is not direct. Aaj Tak means something which will be giving you abhi. Aaj Tak मतलब aaj tak के लिए देगा. It is suggestive. Pampers means it will take care of your body. So that's called Pampers. It's called suggestive way of writing or creating a brand. So this is one of the type. Then you have founder's name. Okay, like Tata, Godrej, Nirulas, Dabur. You know why Dabur came into picture? How Dabur can be, yeah? Yeah, Dabur. Adani, you know it very well. Do I need to explain? No. Okay, Armani, McDonald's. Lacoste. Lacoste is a very interesting case. So why Lacoste is there? Lacoste is a t-shirts and apparel line. Why it is called Lacoste? Why crocodile? Any interesting, you want that interesting story? René Lacoste was a French tennis player. Okay. And when he was the court, he used to have moves like crocodile. And he was known by that name. He is a crocodile moves deta hai. So when he started his own apparel brand, his name was René Lacoste, and he kept that crocodile alligator as the mark of the apparel. Very interesting. So this is how Lacoste, how the names can be done, and this is the way it was done. So this René Lacoste was a French tennis player and businessman. He was nicknamed as the crocodile because how he dealt with the competitors. So that's the reason it was called. So it was founder's name. Then we have abstract playful names, which has nothing to do with the category of product or services you are offering. Abstract or playful names can either be completely made up words or no inherent meaning of the real words. So it can be abstract, like Yahoo. Apple, nothing to do with computer. Google, Kodak, Orange, Twitter. So these are all abstract names which are there into the world. So this is another way of creating a brand name. Then we have coin names. Coin names is hybrid names. You combine two words, mix it up, and then create a name. So these two words may have a complete meaning, but when you combine it, it comes out with a new name. It's called hybrid or coin name. These names are the combination of current words or recognized syllables which mean combined send a right message and potentially highlight attributes and benefit relating to the brand. These brands are similar to suggestive brands like Switzerland Airlines, Swiss Air, Titan, Infosys, Information System, right? What does Titan, why Titan is said as a combination name or a coin name? Why Titan is said? Anybody can tell me? Titan. Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation and Tata. So it's called Titan, Titan. So that's why it's a hybrid name. So you have hybrid names also. This is the ways of you thinking. So you know these things gives you direction. अगर मैं आपको बोलूँ कि आपको नाम सोचना है, तो आज के पहले तो आप randomly सोच रहे होंगे ना, कि यार ये नाम अच्छा है, अरे यार ये नाम मैंने देखा है, रास्ते में चलते हुए नाम देखा आपने सोचा, but there is no direction, there is no classification of what names you are doing. Then we have acronyms or initials, like KFC is Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay, so they are typically rebranded when the long version no longer serve the purpose of it, like GE, General Electrical, BMW, KFC, IKEA, which I gave you the example. There are all acronym short forms. Then we have numerical, where you use numericals like 3M, 7up, 555, 303. So these are the names of the brands which are based on acronyms. Clear? Does it sound interesting? Yeah. So these are the names which are there. These are the ways through which the names are thought of. So we may think or be happy with n number of brand names, but we need to check it from the intellectual property rights point of view. That's the challenge. नाम सोचने में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, नाम तो आप बाजार में कितने भी सोच लोगे, बट आपको ट्रेडमार्क नहीं मिलेगा. दैट इज द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज, बिकॉज योर ब्रांड इज योर प्रॉपर्टी, इट्स योर इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी. सो एवरी टाइम व्हेन यू चूज ए नेम, वेदर इट इज अवेलेबल टू यू फॉर अ ट्रेडमार्क और नॉट, यू डोंट नो. सो यू आर वेरी हैप्पी. हमारे पास 10 नाम है. द अदर डे समबडी वाज टेलिंग 200 नाम दे दिए मैंने. तो 200 नाम देना इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट, 200 नाम मिलना इज इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रेडमार्क के हिसाब से. ठीक है. सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन आवर कंट्री विच वी डोंट केयर ऑफ, which is the most important because your brand is the equity here, right? So from the intellectual point of view, if you are not been given that trademark to use for your trade or business, then that name is of no use. So intellectual property mein, I'll just take few slides on that, which is very important to understand, because this education is very important while thinking about a brand. So trademark, what is a trademark? A trademark is a sign capable of distinguishing the goods or services of an enterprise from the other enterprises. Trademarks are protected by intellectual property rights. So when you have a trademark, you have an exclusive right to use that registered trademark. Okay, so it provides you legal protection. Nobody can use your name, right? So आप जब सर्च करने जाओगे ना, IP सर्च करने जाओगे इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी, तो आपको पता चलेगा कि 80% ऑफ द नेम विच यू थॉट इज ऑलरेडी देयर. 80%. दैट्स व्हाई इट टेक्स 1.5 months to 2 months टू थिंक अबाउट ए नेम. सो आप क्या करते हो? इट इज़ ए यूजुअल प्रैक्टिस. मैं आइसक्रीम बनाता हूँ तो आइसक्रीम के आगे पीछे कोई नाम ढूंढूंगा मैं, या मैं पंखे बनाता हूँ तो आई विल थिंक अबाउट ए नेम विच इज इन एंड अराउंड पंखा, कूल, एयर, समथिंग लाइक दैट. बट दीज विल नॉट बी अवेलेबल टू यू because they are all generic names. It cannot be available to you. So now the challenge comes here, right? So trademark classes, there are classification of trademarks. So these trademark classes are divided into two areas. One is product classes and the other one is service classes. And the product classes have 34 classes and service has 11 subclasses. What does this mean? मतलब कि product classes होते हैं ना, उस classification के अंदर भी अलग अलग category होते हैं कि कौन सा product आप बेच रहे हो, मशीनरी बेच रहे हो या फर्नीचर बेच रहे हो, तो इस तरह के अलग अलग क्लासिफिकेशन है. तो यू टू गेट इट रजिस्टर्ड अंडर दोज क्लासिफिकेशंस, अंडर दोज क्लास. सो व्हेन यू गो टू आईपी ऑफिस, दे विल आस्क यू इन विच क्लास यू वांट टू रजिस्टर योर ब्रांड. ओके, सो फॉर एग्जांपल आपने फर्नीचर के लिए अप्लाई किया, अगर फर्नीचर के लिए किया ना तो आपको नाम सिर्फ फर्नीचर के लिए मिलेगा. टुमारो यू आर गोइंग टू एन इंजीनियरिंग प्रोडक्ट लेटर ऑन, so that name may not be available to you because that name may be already in the engineering category. So you have to think now, because branding, as I was telling earlier also, branding is a vision here. So you have to think today that in tomorrow's world what are you going to diversify into. आपकी ब्रांड को आप कहाँ का एक्सटेंड करने वाले हो. Are you extended to, for example, you are into food product, so you will be limiting to food products, then you get a IP for food products or a category of food product, classification of food product. But tomorrow you want to have that into any other category, then you have to reapply that. And if you don't get it, you can't use that. That's a difficult task. So for that you have to be very clear right now कि what I am going to diversify. And जब आप अप्लाई कर रहे होते तब आपको पता चलेगा इस क्लासिफिकेशन जब भी आप फीड मारोगे या पता करोगे, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द ब्रांड्स आर ऑलरेडी देयर. बिकॉज हमारे जैसे दूसरे लोग भी बैठे हैं ना, हम तो अभी हुए हैं, हम तो 2022 में पैदा हुए हैं, लेकिन बाकी लोग तो पैदा हो चुके हैं पहले ही. सो यू विल नॉट फाइंड दिस. ओके, सो सर्विस क्लास ऑल्सो देयर आर सो मेनी क्लासिफिकेशंस अवेलेबल देयर. सो व्हाट इज द एडवाइस if this is the problem? Have you understood the complexity? Yes. So it is not the thinking to getting. Yeah, please.
Sir, इसमें ऐसा भी होता है कि spelling wise we can check on online, right? Whether name is available or not. But same pronunciation suppose.
Phonetic also cannot be available. Phonetic नहीं होता, वो आपको एडवाइस करेंगे ना IP वाले, आपको phonetic भी नहीं हो सकता है ना. fortune और fortune है ना, लैल्मे और लैक्मे, it cannot be done. Phonetically it's not possible for you to get. Because आप ये सोचो कि अगर आपका ब्रांड हो लैक्मे, विल यू अलाउ समवन टू डू दिस? नो ना, तो व्हाई शुड यू डू दैट? तो उसमें कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी बहुत. तो हमें क्या करना चाहिए पता है आपको, जब भी आप नाम सोचो, देयर इज ए ग्रिड विच आई विल टेल यू. सो यू नो, यू विल हैव वेरी वीक चांसेस इफ यू गो फॉर ए डिस्क्रिप्टिव सजेस्टिव नेम of getting that name. So more you go away from that, you come with playful abstract names and coined names, you'll get better chances of getting a brand name. अगर आपका टाइम बचाना है आपको और आपको मिलने की आशा है तो you go towards stronger side. So if you go through descriptive name or descriptive like जो करता है उसके बारे में आप लिख रहे हो, you will not get it. Very difficult, very difficult. You will keep spending time, it will not happen. So you have weak chances of doing this, but you got a very strong chances when you have a coined name or a abstract name. Like मैं कंप्यूटर का एप्पल नाम रखूंगा तो मिल जाएगा आपको, अभी नहीं, मतलब उसको मिल गया होगा. अब सर आपने तो बोला था, है ना. तो my saying is that he would have got it very immediately because it was an abstract name. Yahoo was an abstract name, right? So it can happen that way. So if you are keeping it, because I said ना, नाम कुछ भी रखो, आप उसका क्या बनाते हो वो important है. वाघ बकरी चाय का किसने सोचा होगा कभी यार? But it's now 100+ years old brand यार. अभी people vouch on it, vouch with that, right? तो वो जब बनाया था तब नहीं सोचा, but उसका क्या बनाया बाद में वो बहुत important है. People will start accepting it. ठीक है? So this is very very important. And also there may be cases where you have got the name or you're using it and somebody sitting somewhere may claim that this is my brand name. I'll give you a very brilliant example. You heard about this brand called Manik Chand? So Manik Chand was there in the world and it was a multi-million company. In Indore or somewhere there was another guy called Malik Chand, not Manik Chand, Malik Chand. So Malik Chand, as you were saying na, it sounded like Manik Chand, and he raised a case against this guy and they fought for 15 years. Till that time court has told them to change the name. So they came out with RMD, Rasik Lal Manik Chand Dhariwal. So they came out with this name, and now after 15 years there is a saying in the court that they won it. So now they're coming back with Manik Chand very soon. But this was the issue, and this guy was a small guy. This Malik Chand was a very small guy. But you cannot do anything like this in our country. ठीक है ना. कई बार ऐसा होता है जब लॉ ही नहीं बने थे हमारे देश में 100 years back, 114 years back, somebody has used it. So there was law of the land which was happening. So in our country, the benefit is given to the person who has used the name before the registration. So there is a conflict there. So you have to keep proving. ऐसे दो ही केस होते हैं, 2-3 केस होते हैं. इंडिया में प्रायर यूज किसने किया उसका राइट होता है. इन चाइना प्रायर रजिस्ट्रेशन किसने किया उसका राइट होता है. There is the difference there. So it may happen that you have registered it and somebody comes up and says that it was my brand long back. Yeah. So the advice while you think of a name is try. Yeah.
आप जो इंदौर की बात कर रहे थे मालिक चंद, वो एक इंसान का नाम है,
उसके ब्रांड का नाम था।
उनका ब्रांड
हाँ, गुटखा का ब्रांड था, वो गुटखा का ब्रांड चलाता था।
सेम उनका
हाँ, लेकिन पुणे में और सॉरी इंदौर में छोटी जगह पे करता था। दिस वेर नेशनल प्लेयर्स, सो दैट इज व्हाट। नहीं, गुटखा तो होना ही चाहिए ना, गुटखा नहीं होगा तो नहीं होगा, और उस कैटेगरी का होना चाहिए।
ये ब्रांड किसी पर्टिकुलर एरिया के लिए भी देते हैं ना, पूरे इंडिया के लिए कई बार
नहीं, यूजुअली इंडिया के लिए ही करते आप।
इतने रीजन में कर सकते हो।
वो बहुत मुश्किल होता है, यूजुअली आप इंडिया के लिए ही लेते हो, क्योंकि सर्च के लिए देते हो, बिकॉज नो बडी विल थिंक ना कि मैं गुजरात में लिमिट करूंगा, मैं बाहर जाऊंगा। ये सब कहाँ होता है, आपको बिना नाम देकर कैसे चल जाता है पता है आपको? आप रेस्टोरेंट में नहीं भी जा सकते हो, रियल एस्टेट में होता है। रियल एस्टेट में क्या होता है, एनिग्मा नाम हो किसी का, तो आपके अहमदाबाद में 10 एनिग्मा नाम होता है, लेकिन वो बिल्डिंग के लिमिटेड ही होता है। लेकिन वो अगर उसको बड़ा ब्रांड बनाना चाहता है तो देन ही हैज टू गो फॉर अ ट्रेडमार्क। अदरवाइज इफ यू गो फॉर अग्रवाल टावर तो 10 अग्रवाल टावर होंगे आपके अहमदाबाद में, बिकॉज वो उस लिमिट तक, उस टावर की लिमिटेशन तक ही होता है। ठीक है ना? या
Sir, can we have at least a name of that prior to that, आपने बोला ना 100 साल पहले, कोई example उसका?
दिया ना मैंने, मालिक चंद वाज अर्लियर।
So it was
हाँ हाँ, इट वॉज नॉट न्यू। नहीं नहीं, नया होता तो मिलता ही नहीं ना उसको। वो आपने करवाया, उसके बाद पता चला कि भाई दिस गाय वाज ऑलरेडी देयर, तो इट वेंट टू हिज फेवर। ओके,
तो जब रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए जाते हैं तो वो भी सजेस्ट करता है कि आप पुराना बिल लाइए, जितना हो सके उतना
पुराना 4 महीने तक ओपन होता है। कोई ऑब्जेक्शन करना चाहता हो, नहीं करना चाहता हो, सब कुछ ओपन होता है। बट स्टिल आवर लॉ ऑफ लैंड सेज,
रजिस्ट्रेशन के टाइम भी वो अपने लॉयर अपने को सजेस्ट करता है कि आप हो सके उतने पुराने बिल यानी प्रूफ लाइए कि आप इतने पुराने।
हाँ हाँ, वो तो लाना ही पड़ेगा आपको, उसको बिलिंग बताना पड़ेगा। मालिक चंद उठ के बोले कि भाई मैं तो करता था, ऐसे नहीं। ये टू शो कमर्शियल ट्रांजेक्शन, इनफ कमर्शियल ट्रांजेक्शन, which is right. So the advice and the suggestion in this is very serious advice is that try getting the right guidance and advice. A majority of the time मैंने सुना है लोग बोलते हैं हमने अप्लाई कर दिया सर, एप्लीकेशन डजंट मीन दैट यू गॉट इट। तो एक लॉयर होता है, लॉयर क्या है, वो होता है ना नया नया LLB करा वाला होता है कि साहब अप्लाई कर ही दी तुझे, तो मैं चिंता नहीं करवाऊँ। एप्लीकेशन का दाम 2000 रुपये होता है, वो कर कुरा के खत्म कर देता है, बट इट डजंट मीन दैट यू गॉट इट। सो देयर इज अ मिथ हियर, एप्लीकेशन डजंट मीन दैट यू गॉट इट। एप्लीकेशन जब तक सर्टिफिकेट नहीं आता है ना आपका, जिसमें लिखा हो कि यू इट इज एक्सक्लूसिव टू यू, इट इज ऑफ नो वर्थ। अप्लाइंग इज नॉट द पर्पस, गेटिंग इट इज द पर्पस। सो प्लीज all the friends sitting here should understand, majority of the time when I ask the client, apply kari didu chhe. Apply kari didu chhe is not an issue, is in whether you got it or not, very importantly. Okay. Second, there is no shortcut, है ना? कोई नहीं देखता है यार, है ना? बाद में देख लेंगे। No, सभी उसी को देख रहे होंगे जब आप फेमस हो जाओगे। तो इसलिए there is no shortcut. Please take your time. आपके पास टाइम नहीं, 15 दिवस में टाइम से करी ना को, no boss. Take your time and put it we have to be very, very conscious about it. So you cannot get away by being shortcut. No shortcut to thinking name. Don't get emotional, too much attached to the existing choice. होता है ना कि हम उनको 5 साल बाद बोलते हैं सर ये नाम तो आपको कैसे मिल गया? There was a company which came to me and he said that we are going to invest in this brand. The first question was that how did you get this brand? No, we applied, I got a certificate. So you showed me a certificate. In the footnote there was written that this brand is not exclusive to you. So he got emotional. He was literally on tears कि क्या होगा मेरे ब्रांड का। तो मैंने बोला आपको 5 साल बाद पता चल गया, बड़ी बात है, क्योंकि अगले 10 साल के बाद पता चलता प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है आपको। सो यू गेट वेरी इमोशनल। इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू एक्सप्लेन ए पर्सन हु हैज बीन डीलिंग विद द ब्रांड फॉर लास्ट 4-5 years डूइंग गुड बिजनेस एंड टेलिंग हिम टू चेंज द नेम। वेरी मच, so you have to be away from that emotion, because the brand is something which is going to be there forever for you. And over and above that, the life becomes more difficult when you start thinking about वास्तु से होना चाहिए मेरा नाम, है ना? तो ये तो बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है कि नाउ स्टार्ट थिंकिंग, एक तो एब्स्ट्रैक्ट नाम लाओ, उसमें फिर वास्तु भी लाओ, और इट्स ए वेरी इमोशनल थिंग। सो इट हैपेंस कि वी हैव टू थिंक अबाउट वास्तु। 3 ही वर्ड होने चाहिए, वास्तु में बोला गया 3 ही वर्ड होने चाहिए, और वो नाम जो है द ग भ से ये सुना चाहिए। तो अब वो कहाँ से ढूंढेगा ऐसे एब्स्ट्रैक्ट नेम? तो इट विल बी ओनली एब्स्ट्रैक्ट नेम, इट बिकम्स लाइफ बिकम्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू थिंक अबाउट इट। सो दैट इज व्हाट हैपेंस। सो बी क्लियर, sure, before you invest in the brand. You have to get that certification done. You have to be very sure and involve some senior advisor for such IP advisor who can tell you that this will be objectionable or this is advisable or not. You may think of 4 names or 5 names. So when you go to an attorney, he will tell you which is the name which is most appropriate of no objection. And then go ahead with that. Don't just go for one name, same, कि अरे यार ये नाम दिलवा दो आप, कुछ भी करके कर दो सर आप. No, don't do that. Whatever he advises, take that advice because that's the investment. Brand perception is the major equity of major companies here, all the companies. सबसे बड़ा चीज जो है brand name है. You heard about this brand called Hemmoor? Yeah, it was started in 1944 by Satish Chona. Okay, it got sold in 1020 crores to a South Korean brand Lotte. And when it was sold, it was a worth company of 465 crore, just 465 crore. It got sold in 1020 crores. ये ब्रांड नेम होता नहीं होता और आइसक्रीम का काम होता बिक जाता हो. अगर ये ऑब्जेक्शनेबल होता और किसी ने ये नाम लिखा होता तो हो जाता ही नहीं ना. तो अंडरस्टैंड, दिस वाज गिवन फॉर जस्ट फॉर द ब्रांड नेम. It was not given because he had a good factory or good taste of ice cream और पान वाला फ्लेवर है ना, ये फ्लेवर है वो फ्लेवर है, उसके लिए नहीं दिया था पैसा. पैसा हैमोर का था, हैमोर ब्रांड का. सो अगर ये ब्रांड डिस्प्यूटेबल हो तो nobody will invest in your brand. In today's world, lot of startups come for investing ना. तो जो इन्वेस्टर होता है सबसे पहले क्वेश्चन यही पूछता है कि did you get the trademark of your brand? First tell me that, then only will invest. You invest, you pump in lot of money, you create a perception, then realize, अरे this name is not with you यार. This name can be with anyone else also. So this can be a difficult task, very serious thing. And then you can extend, like Hemmoor was the case. So after they left, they also utilized their all property of the brand. Like they were started in 1944. So in Ahmedabad you will have 1944 restaurants, right? You know what is Hokko? Hokko is their brand. What is Hokko? What is the full form of Hokko? Who said this? You work there? Okay, you go there. Okay, good. Very good. Yeah. So this is how interesting the world of brand names are. This is the way they do it, right? So a good name can be evocative. It can have a brand fit, easy to pronounce and spell, easy to spell. इतना complications आई के अगर full form करूँगा तो कोई बोल नहीं पाएगा, हाँप जाएगा. ठीक है? Memorable, make it not too long. Extendable, you can extend it to any other brand categories. That's why you should get it registered. Like Amul has done it in 33 categories. क्लासेस ऑलरेडी रजिस्टर्ड. तो आप कोई भी कैटेगरी में एक्सटेंड करना हो, उनको दूध के बाद आटा लाना हो या रेडी टू कुक लाना हो, दे कैन डू दैट बिकॉज दे हैड ऑलरेडी डन इट. दैट्स व्हाई विजन ऑफ द ब्रांड. ओके, ग्लोबली एक्सेप्टेबल एंड बट डिस्टिंक्ट. सो एन आईपी अवेलेबिलिटी इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टास्क. सो आर यू विथ मी? हैव यू अंडरस्टूड द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ दैट? राइट. सो यू कैन नॉट बी क्रिएटिव एंड इमोशनल इन डूइंग दैट. सो यू हैव टू बी क्रिएटिव एंड ऑल्सो आईपी अवेलेबिलिटी देखना है टेक्निकली आपको. Then only the brand name comes. So it's a big challenge. So coming to the next one, ये तो वो आपका ब्रांड नेम कैसे सोचते हैं. अब ब्रांड को एक्सटेंड करना होता है तो हर ब्रांड के अंदर एक पोर्टफोलियो होता है, अलग अलग तरीके के ब्रांड्स होते हैं उसके अंदर. तो आई एक्सप्लेन यू व्हाट इज ब्रांड आर्किटेक्चर. ब्रांड आर्किटेक्चर इज एन ऑर्गेनाइज स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ए कंपनी पोर्टफोलियो ऑफ ब्रांड, सब ब्रांड्स एंड अदर ऑफरिंग. कई कंपनी में ब्रांड्स होते हैं, उसके सब ब्रांड्स होते हैं, अलग अलग तरीके से वो लोग नेमिंग करते हैं. तो आई एक्सप्लेन दैट. In simple terms, it shows how the brand, sub-brands and other offering of the company are organized and how they relate to each other. So I'll explain you some possibilities and example how it is done and also exploring some of the options. The way the team plays as a whole determines its success. You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars, but if they don't play together, they aren't worth a dime. आपके पास अलग अलग ब्रांड्स होंगे, अगर वो एक दूसरे के साथ कोई सिनर्जी नहीं होगा तो there is no use of having that. Okay, so if I give you an example, these are two brand actors. BMW जो है वो एक ही नाम से बेच रहा है, RX, X1, X2, X3, और GM जो है वो अलग अलग नाम से बेच रहा है गाड़ियाँ अलग अलग कैटेगरी को. But both the architecture are fine. So what to brand? The trick lies in leveraging without diluting. So how do you brand? मैं आपको examples बताऊंगा तो आपको समझ आएगा what do you mean by brand architecture in a brand portfolio. So yeah, I'll go through this. Now these are the three types, major types of brand architecture. Branded house, जिसमें एक ही ब्रांड होता है और उसमें सारी कैटेगरी. सैमसंग अगर होगा तो सैमसंग टेलीविजन, सैमसंग रेफ्रिजरेटर, सैमसंग एयर कंडीशनर, these are all sold in the single brand name. और हिमालय shampoo, Himalaya, face wash, Himalaya, whatever it is. So it has all sold at the same name, so it's called branded house. Then on the extreme you have house of brands, where you got multiple brands under one brand. Like वो ना Paras Pharmaceutical का हुआ करता था, Crack, Ring Guard, Set Fit, Move, they were all different brands. So they called house of brand. बहुत सारे brands है, उसका एक house है, और एक branded होता है, और एक होता है sub brand, like Surf Excel, दो brand together. Nestle Kit Kat, Nestle is a brand, Kit Kat is a brand, right? So these are called sub brand category of working. Like if I tell you, this is called master brand. This is a branded house. So Google will have on the same name, they will have various category, various brands, and there can be sub brand like which are endorsed, and then individual brands which are under PNG. PNG के अंदर में जैसे Pampers है, Tide है, they are all different brands, but they fall under PNG. So what is a branded house? As I told you, it's an umbrella branding. It is also called as an umbrella branding. Descriptive sub brand has little role, like Tata, Samsung or Amul. So what happens here, कि you have same identity, same name, and you sell various category of products under that name, like you see GE. Yeah. So single name and all different category of products. So it's called branded name, a branded house. FedEx. So they slightly distinguish themselves with different colors. Apple, iPhone, iMac, iWatch, iPad. So these are they are doing in this way. So there are certain merits also and demerits of these type of architecture which you have. I'll tell you the pros and cons. The pros, the benefit of having a branded house is that you have synergy. Synergy means you have the products create एसोसिएशन and विजिबिलिटी फॉर ईच अदर. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि मैं अगर रेफ्रिजरेटर की ऐड कर रहा हूँ तो उसका बेनिफिट मुझे एसी वाले एडवर्टाइजिंग में भी आएगा, एसी प्रोडक्ट में भी आएगा ना, कि अगर मैं रेफ्रिजरेटर कर रहा हूँ सैमसंग रेफ्रिजरेटर, तो यू डोंट हैव टू से दैट यू नो वॉशिंग मशीन के लिए सैमसंग के लिए एडवर्टाइज, जब भी आप देखोगे वॉशिंग मशीन, अच्छा ये वही है सैमसंग. सो इट गेट्स बेनिफिट, any brand or any category of product is advertised, it gets benefit of the other one. So leverage मिलता है उसको. दूसरा clarity, single message, easy to understand. What does Samsung stands for? Clear है. So it is a clarity of message is there. Leverage, master brand equity optimize. Master brand मतलब जो Samsung है, वो कोई भी कैटेगरी एडवर्टाइज कर रहा होगा, उसका बेनिफिट जो है वो मदर ब्रांड को मिलता है, मतलब सैमसंग को मिलता ही मिलता है. एनीथिंग विच इज एडवर्टाइज इट गोज to the mother brand, it adds the equity to the mother brand. But there are certain demerits also. The demerits that it will be failing to target specific category. Like for example, मैं female product बनाता हूँ हर समय, और if I want to target to male, then that brand may not work. It becomes very difficult to target to a specific target audience. If it is generic one, it will work. But the moment if it is only for male product and you are extending male product and then you want to extend it to female product or kids one, it becomes very difficult. It cannot be done. Secondly, all bets are stuck on one brand. Difficult to change or actually turn around. मतलब कि अगर एक category of product खराब चला या कुछ गड़बड़ हुई, तो it will be taking away the equity of all the other or the mother brand. So it can erode the reputation of the mother brand. So that's the biggest risk which you may have. तो आपका रेफ्रिजरेटर अच्छा चल रहा है, लेकिन एसी में हाथ लगाया, करंट लग गया सबको, तो वो रेफ्रिजरेटर भी कोई खरीदेगा नहीं कि ये तो उसी कंपनी का है. So that is the risk which you have. When you have house of brands, example, independent brands may originate from the same company, but they obviously do not have any relationship with each other. They are coming from the same company, but do not have any relationship with each other. Like PNG. Various brands. तो बच्चों के लिए पैम्पर्स जा रहा होगा, फीमेल्स के लिए अलग जा रहा होगा, but they do not have any linkage with each other. But this comes from the same house, so this is called house of brands. They got multiple brands, like Unilever. You have these brands under Unilever. So it may not be linked with each other, except it comes from the same house. These are few examples of house of brands. Now house of brands में pros क्या हैं? It has the ability to tap diverse distinct segments. बच्चों को करना तो I can tap, females को करना तो I can tap because they are different brands. Okay. Relevance able to create strong proposition for every category. Strong proposition मतलब ये सिर्फ females के लिए है तो I can very well do it because I got a different brand to do that. it is for male, I can do that. This is the positiveness of having a house of brand. But what is negative? Negative is money most, because you have to create and develop each brand. You have to invest in each brand differently. So the money becomes more expensive. It is the most invested category of branding. So money is most expensive to create and maintain. Sacrifice leverage, which may lead wastage, whereas commodities can be exploited. For example, उसका कोई common चीज नहीं होती except PNG, which is very subtle. So Rexona की advertising हो रही है तो कोई जरूरी नहीं कि Vicks को उसका फायदा मिले. Very difficult. Nothing happens there. So each brand has to be developed individually. You have to invest individually. So it becomes very, very expensive. This is the difference. When you talk about endorsed brands are like Surf Excel. There are category like ITC becomes the from the fair it is coming from. Sunfeast have various category. So उसका सब brand बनता रहता है. Like Nestle है तो Nestle का Lactogen है तो Nestle KitKat है तो Nestle KitKat Senses, third layer of structure. Here they are just given an endorsement. They given the year the Bagan was there, but by Tata Tea gives you the endorsement. Because sub brand category. किस proportion में किस degree में आप use कर रहे हो आपके mother brand पर depends on whom you are targeting, what is the objective. So here by Tata Tea is just giving an endorsement कि it is from. अगर मैं Tata Tea हटा दूँ और 1868 बताऊँ तो आप शायद नहीं खरीदोगे. The moment I gave that enhances the credibility. But it is a subtle endorsement which is given here. Same way, Amazon is giving you an endorsement there. So, endorsed brand, independent brands are given credibility. Usually a token association by corporate brand. Corporate brand मतलब just token endorsement दिया जाता है उसके अंदर. Can vary in degree. Okay, so this endorsement जो है ना कोई जरूरी नहीं सर्फ एक्सेल जैसा लिखा होता है. सर्फ भी उतना ही बड़ा और एक्सेल भी उतना बड़ा लिखा हुआ है. The same proportion. It may not be written. So it depends on degrees on which you want to achieve your objective. For example, if you say Redmi, so by Xiaomi, subtle endorsement is given. So Redmi becomes the hero. Rag by Fortune. So it is an endorsement that it comes from the house of Fortune. So it is giving you the credibility of the brand Rag, Vanaspati. Right? Surf Excel equally given. Then Men's was a brand of Everyouth. Everyouth would have been standing for the female category. So here see the degree is different. Men's become hero. Okay. Perfect Radiance was from Fair and Lovely. Fair and Lovely is a value for money, mass oriented brand. But when they wanted to go to a premium segment, they may usually not find it appropriate to go by Fair and Lovely name. So they came out with Perfect Radiance. At the bottom they are subtly written from Fair and Lovely to establish the credibility of the product. Maggi, there is no Nestle in the front, but at the back they give you Nestle. So this is the types of sub brand categories which you want to use. हर बार डबल नहीं हो सकता, सर्फ एक्सेल जैसा नहीं हो सकता है. Sometimes you may have a different objective to do that. कि मुझे सिर्फ subtle endorsement देना है, but I don't want to disturb my mother brand. So you can also say from the house of Adani's or from the house of XYZ. So it can be also like that. So that is the way you do it. It varies in degree. So what is the benefit of this? An independent brand gets credibility. एक independent brand जो उसकी credibility मिलती because उसका जो mother brand है उसका endorsement ज़्यादा नहीं हो तो it can get you a better credibility. Create a distinct identity that messes very little with the mother brand aura. क्योंकि आप एक नया brand बना रहे हो उसको सिर्फ endorsement दे रहे हो तो हो सकता है आपका brand जैसा KitKat है. KitKat में Nestle is just giving you credibility. चैनल एक्सेप्टेंस होता है ना कि आप ट्रेड चैनल में जाते हो तो एक्सेप्टेंस हो जाता है कि भाई ये नेस्ले का ही प्रोडक्ट है, उसकी क्रेडिबिलिटी. बट किटकैट एक अपना ब्रांड है, जो किटकैट खरीदते हैं उसको कोई लेना देना नहीं कि नेस्ले में क्या है, बट इट कैन एस्टैब्लिश इट्स ओन निश, इट्स ओन पोजीशन इन द मार्केट. ट्रेड चैनल एक्सेप्टेंस बिकॉज इट इज कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम टाटा और इट इज कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम नेस्ले. सो द ट्रेड जो डीलर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स होते हैं ना, दे स्टार्ट एक्सेप्टिंग द ब्रांड बिकॉज इट इज एन ओन ब्रांड. सो दैट इज एन एंडोर्समेंट विच इज गिवन बाय देम. Borrow association from the mother brand while creating a distinct identity. It definitely borrows a credibility from the mother brand, but doing that also they have their own identity established. कॉन्स क्या है? पैसे उतना ही लगता है जितना एक एस्टेब्लिश करने के लिए लगता है एक अलग ब्रांड को, उतना ही पैसा लगता है. आप कुछ भी कर लो, कितना भी एंडोर्समेंट ले लो, but it takes the same money, similar money as what a individual brand or a house of brand takes, because you are developing each brand. So here also the purpose is developing each brand, but giving you the credibility of the mother brand. उसके अलावा कोई डिस्टिंक्शन नहीं होता है. लिटिल इम्पैक्ट व्हेन इंडोस ब्रांड इज नॉट वेल नोन. हाँ, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि जो मदर ब्रांड है, सर्फ कोई नहीं जानता और आप सर्फ एक्सेल लेके आते हो तो कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ने वाला है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इट इज ए स्टेज 2 activity. First, your mother brand has to be established. If nobody knows Tata and you say 1868 by Tata, it's not going to make any difference because nobody knows Tata. So you have to make sure that your mother brand is known to the market, more to the segment we are moving, and then the addition of sub brand with it adds value to it. Otherwise, of no use. Usually, a step 2 once mother brand is established. So see, this is a beautiful grid which tells you about in what proportion the brand structures are used. So you see house of brands, then you have endorsed brands, then you have sub brands where you have association with the brand, endorsed brand in various proportion, and then you have house of brands. Yeah. In branded house you use the same brand, sub brand you have different segments, endorsed brand you just give normally endorsement, and house of brands you have different brands. Okay, understood this bigger picture. So now your question is which way to go? Monies or target audience wise or product category wise or association to enhance the value proposition? The choice is us and we have to select what we need to do before you go ahead with the brand architecture. So after thinking of the name, you will one day or the other extend your brand portfolio. That time the decision has to be taken. नाम तो सोच लिया, but क्या नाम सोचने की जरूरत है या उसी को extend करने की जरूरत है? That has to be thought. So these are where to go and how to leverage is more important. Okay. So what are the benefits? Very quickly I'll tell you about a strong brand architecture, that you have a clarity in the marketplace. There is no confusion. Clarity. Then synergy among brands. So whatever brand you're selling, there is a synergy in this. Target specific customer segments. Clarity in positioning and communication because you got a different brand or you've got a purpose of creating that brand. Enhance consumer awareness. Build and enhance brand equity. Corporate brand and mother brand equity maximized. This is what I wanted to share with you after understanding lot of myths which are governed in the market. Now, you need to educate that this is how it works. So there is creativity, there is emotion, there is everything happening, but then it has to be technical. That's why I was saying there is an art, but there is a science also in all this because you are into commerce. So this will ultimately add into commerce. I'll give you some quickly before we end up. Some of the interesting example which I came across when I was reading this content and I was trying to build up. You know, it is said that Oyo came out because of, this logo came out because of Lord Jagannath, and this gentleman Ritesh Agarwal is from Bhubaneswar. And he came out this name because of Lord Jagannath's, you know, they have this symbol. And if it is true, that's good. He thought about it like that. You have seen this architecture of Nirma. See how beautifully they have done. They are given different colors of different institutes under the university. So they are common Nirma University, but they have Institute of Law, Institute of Technology, Institute of Management. So they use these different colors and establish it. But they are optimizing Nirma University's equity. However, they all are different streams, but they are optimizing it. Sometimes companies use colors here and do that. So when I was doing this, I found a very interesting example which I thought of sharing with you, which may not be directly related with a brand name, but is not something to do with the architecture. I'll take you about a you can say a group of islands which created an identity of its own. It's called land of Bahamas. Okay, so this Bahama had many islands under it, and it is a favorite destination of people while they go for holidays. I'll not go through the content here. I'll explain you how did they do. So the land of Bahamas, and they had 13 islands, and there are main islands, there are out islands, and there are, you know, there are two sets of islands. One is the main island, the out islands. There's a group of islands, and it looked like this. Okay, these are the land of Bahamas. This is what it is. Now they were given a challenge of creating an identity of the entire, you know, islands, all the islands put together, and they created a beautiful identity of it. So you could see this, they came out with this identity. It reflects islands, and the ultimate logo was like this. So this main islands and 13 out islands were shown like this. And not only this, they didn't limit themselves to there. What they did was they created what should be the font, because it's a small island. So fonts, the graphics which will be used, and not only this, how the website will look like, how the government, communication will happen, how the brochure will look like, how the railway coaches will look like, how the advertising will happen. Not only this, they use this in all the collaterals and merchandise. They use it in the bags. They use it everywhere. Islands, you need this. The identity was extended there also. है ना इंटरेस्टिंग? इवन द मार्क्स कि कौन सा डायरेक्शन कहाँ जाएगा उसके ऊपर, they did this study on that. And each signboard which will be used will have their own fonts. How not to use. Now interestingly, if they wanted to create an identity for an island called Abacus, so they had highlighted that island there. So Abacus logo will be like this. Andreos will be like this. So independent island का भी अगर identity चाहिए, so they have already created like that. Yeah. So that was very interesting. I thought I'll share it with you how it can be done. So from there they did it this. Yeah. So this is how people work. It's very difficult to do it in India because each state has different government. So it will be very difficult. But that was a group of islands which we had, and you could do that, right? So here I think I end my session. If you have any questions, you can ask. Yeah. But I'm sure you got something to think. Yeah. Yeah.
Normally, how much time does this registration take?
4 months, 4 to 5 months. And if you go to an attorney, he can tell you that you will get it and you can start your business. They become very confident because they know the laws and all that. So they will advise you, you can go immediately with it. And in that meantime, the registration happens. So you don't have to wait for that. But always understand that application is different than getting it. So please keep that in mind. Yeah.
Sir, is it necessary that you will have to have the branch, have it only the company's name, like ST Consultancy, right? ST Consultancy is a company's name, it's not a something brand or something.
It's the company brand name, na?
Company brand name that is there, but like some foods, by XYZ foods, they don't have any.
हाँ, उसका अगर आप जिस ब्रांड को आप से पैसा कमाना चाहते हो, उसका तो करना ही पड़ेगा ट्रेडमार्क, है ना? बाद में जैसे कोई भी आपका प्राइम ट्रेडिंग कंपनी, तो प्राइम ट्रेडिंग कंपनी इज नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट. इफ यू आर यूटिलाइजिंग दैट इनटू मार्केट एज ए ट्रेड, देन ट्रेडमार्क इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. तो यूजुअली क्या करते हैं लोग, जैसे सिम्फनी है, earlier it was Sanskrit Comfort Private Limited. It became Symphony Comfort Private Limited because you get the name of the company is the same and the product brand be same. So what more important is that which brand you are marketing, उसका trademark लेना तो बहुत जरूरी है. Company registration is different, domain name is different, company registration is entirely different, trademark is different. कई लोग बोलते हैं हमारा domain name आ गया, I hear this also. આપણે domain name લઈ લીધું છે, .in મળી ગયા છે, .com મળી ગયા છે. But .in and .com is not trademark. It is a domain space, which doesn't mean that you got an authority to use your trademark. ठीक है? Yeah, you were asking something.
संजय जी, जैसे जो सर्विस इंडस्ट्री होता है जहाँ पे वन इंडिविजुअल इज लीडिंग दैट कंपनी, इवन दो हम कंपनी रजिस्टर करते हैं, ट्रेडमार्क भी करते हैं, बट अदरवाइज स्टिल दैट कंपनी इज नोन बाय द पर्सन ओनली.
हाँ.
उनके नाम से ही वो जाना है.
हाँ,
फिर वो नाम को भी हमें ट्रेडमार्क करना चाहिए, क्योंकि कई बार
नाम को मतलब आपके नाम को?
हाँ खुद के
नहीं, खुद का नाम तो हो ही नहीं सकता है ना. आपका नाम तो हजारों होंगे लोग.
नाम है, नाम के साथ अगर कई बार टाइटल्स मिलते हैं, वो टाइटल को अगर आप प्रमोट करते हैं,
For example,
आचार्य जी, आचार्य जी इज अ पदवी, इट्स एन अवार्ड गिवन टू समवन. आचार्य लू है, लोग प्रोनाउंस नहीं कर सकते हैं, वो आचार्य जी हुआ है. सो मेनी टाइम्स वी हैव सीन दैट वी आर नोन बाय आचार्य जी, दैट नेम इज लू,
करेंगे, वो करेंगे, बिकॉज इट इज नॉट ट्रेडमार्केबल. नो नो नो, इट इज लाइक मोहनचंद करमचंद गांधी. तो करमचंद गांधी वॉज मोहनचंद करमचंद गांधी, मोहनचंद वॉज द सब ब्रांड ऑफ करमचंद गांधी, इफ यू से दैट वे. बट गांधी कैन नॉट बी रजिस्टर्ड.
यहाँ पे कैसे हम इसे register
नहीं कर सकते. आपके कंपनी करिए, आपके कंपनी.
registered,
हाँ
वो तो trademark
हाँ,
है, but still the company का कोई value addition नहीं है.
बहुत मुश्किल होगा आपको सरनेम को करना, बहुत मुश्किल होगा, अनलेस इट इज़ ए वेरी यूनिक वन टू डू दैट. ठीक है ना, ट्राई इट आउट. बट वो क्या होता है कि कंपनी का करना, आपका जो ट्रेडिंग जो सेटअप है उसका आप कराओगे तो उससे अच्छा है कि टुमारो व्हेन यू बिकम बिग, यू आर नॉट द ओनली पर्सन रिलेटेड टू दैट, बिकॉज योर कंपनी विल रिलेटेड ओनली विथ यू. ठीक है ना, बट इट बिकम वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू डू दैट, बिकॉज उससे क्या होगा पता है आपको, आचार्य जी जो है दुनिया में एक ही है, फिर आप ही कोई है ही नहीं. तो ये तो यू टू सी फ्रॉम द अदर एंड ऑल्सो ना. या ये सेइंग सम.
ये कॉपीराइट भी तो कर सकते हैं उनकी लिखावट.
हाँ, लिखावट तो डिजाइन मार्क कर सकते हो ना.
डिजाइन मार्क कर
हाँ हाँ, वो जिस तरीके से लिखा हुआ है, जिस तरीके से लिखा हुआ, लाइक गिव एन एग्जांपल, शुगर फ्री इज नॉट ए ब्रांड नेम. शुगर फ्री इज ए कैटेगरी, कैटेगरी प्रोडक्ट. शुगर फ्री जिस तरीके से शुगर फ्री ने लिखा हुआ है ना, वो स्वीटनर से, वो चल सकता है उसके साथ. बट अमूल कैन ऑल्सो कम विद शुगर फ्री, संजय कैन कम आउट विद शुगर फ्री, संजय शुगर फ्री. But my way of writing will not be that. So you cannot have a brand name of the thing which is ingredient of the product. कभी नहीं हो सकता है. You cannot name yourself training. तो you owe that category. फिर nobody can put as a training. जनरली क्या ना, डिक्शनरी वर्ड हो गया. You cannot do that. So technical है. इसके अंदर आपको घुसना पड़ेगा, तब पता चलेगा कि सी. एंड ऑलवेज डोंट थिंक कि मैं उसको ले लूँ, उसका नाम ले लूँ, मेरे को बेनिफिट हो. नो, आप सोचो कि अगर आपका नाम किसी ने लिया तो क्या करोगे आप, तो सेम में वो भी करेगा ना. That's the reason. एक मैं आपको एक इंटरेस्टिंग एग्जांपल, आई वाज टॉकिंग टू आईपी अटॉर्नी एंड ही सेड दैट जयपुर इज अ बेल्ट वेयर यू विल फाइंड लॉट ऑफ डुप्लीकेट ब्रांड नेम्स और ऑयल ब्रांड्स. सो दीज पीपल फाउंड अ ब्रांड which was using the name of a already established brand in Jaipur. So they went and did a raid. So they went with the police guys and they went there and they went to the factory and they realized that this factory was much bigger than the original one. So then the police raiding was saying कि नहीं, we have to go back and reconfirm original कौन है इसमें से. तो ये भी होता है, ये भी होता है. It's quite possible. Yeah, please. You have to check with the IP attorney because there is a treaty which is done, Madrid Treaty, through which you apply in apply together in 40 countries together. There is a treaty कि भाई सब कंट्री में आप कर सकते हो. और उसमें फिर वो होता है कि if it is a well known in your country also, then you can't use it. Example, Whirlpool was not allowed to do marketing in India because of trade barriers and all those. So some smart guy in India started a brand name of consumer electronics in the name of Whirlpool. So Whirlpool globally objected it, right? So these are all things which are enters into a litigation here. ठीक है, तो वो आपको बहुत केयरफुल होना पड़ेगा. देखो, अल्टीमेटली द पॉइंट विच आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक इज दैट बी वेरी केयरफुल, बी वेरी क्लियर बिफोर यू इन्वेस्ट इन द ब्रांड. हैव मोर बनने के बाद अगर आप बोलते हो कि ये तो किसी और का है, गड़बड़ है, तो आपको कोई रुपया नहीं देगा. ठीक है, या रुपया ला ही नहीं सकोगे आप. सो दैट इज द पर्पस ऑफ दिस होल सेशन. इट इज नॉट दैट चीट, उसको कर दो, उसको तो पता ही नहीं चला, हमने लूप होल निकाला और हम आ गए. नो, इट कैन नॉट बी डन. तो चलता है, हो जाएगा, नहीं हो सकता है.
इंडिया में कैन यू रजिस्टर इन द नेम ऑफ गॉड के नाम नहीं.
नो, वो तो सब
कृष्णा
रिलीजियस हो जाता है वो सब. वो हाँ, आपको कौन से सेक्शन में लोगे, आप कौन से कैटेगरी में ला रहे हो, आप उसके ऊपर डिपेंड होगा ना. क्लासिक
परोठा हाउस है ना, सब जगह है.
हाँ
दे कैन नॉट रजिस्टर्ड.
हाँ, बट यूसेज है ना, उसको उसने वो नहीं किया होगा. बट जलाराम का यूज़ करोगे तो कौन करा, जैसे वो खेतलापा नहीं था. हाँ, खेतलापा. तो यू टू जस्ट गो थ्रू लीगल बिकॉज अदरवाइज नोबडी विल. आप सोचो आपका खेतलापा तो क्या करोगे आप जाने थोड़ा दोगे उसको. या एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस.
Maggi is a brand name.
हाँ,
So can I use that like Maggi soup? जैसे मैं अहमदाबाद में बेचता हूँ Maggi soup. उसे category है सर, food के.
क्या मैगी इज ए कैटेगरी, मैगी इज ए ब्रांड नेम.
जैसे KitKat या Oreo, KitKat shake.
किटकैट इज ए ब्रांड. आप सूप बेचो ना कोई भी नाम से, सूप आप ले सकते हो, बट मैगी सूप नहीं ले सकते हो. आप मैगी के ओनर हो. हाँ, मैं चालू करता हूँ अपने बिजनेस मैगी से, आप अलाउ कर दोगे मुझे? सच बताओ, आप अलाउ करोगे मुझे? मैगी ब्रांड है आपका, जिसमें इतने सालों से आपने इन्वेस्ट किया है, आप अलाउ करोगे मुझे? नहीं करो. सो इट कैन नॉट बी मैगी फेस्टिवल, इट कैन बी नूडल्स फेस्टिवल. इट मे हैव बिकम जनरिक टू दैट कैटेगरी. वो पॉइंट ऑफ रेफरेंस हो गया होगा आपका कि मैगी मीन्स नूडल, But you cannot put Maggie festival. It has to be noodle festival. है ना? Yeah. Yes, sir.
When we are coming up with a new product, right? So where we supposed to focus more, building a brand or to efficacy or quality of product?
Both together. If you create a brand and no quality, you're backfired. है ना? मैं कमिट करूंगा, मैं बोलूंगा बड़ी बड़ी बातें, ठीक है, लेकिन मैं वो तो बेसिक है यार, इंग्रेडिएंट है आपका. क्वालिटी इज इंग्रेडिएंट. विदाउट क्वालिटी हाउ कैन यू क्रिएट ए ब्रांड? ब्रांड इज अ परसेप्शन ना. आप तो बोलोगे अच्छा होता है, ये प्रोडक्ट अच्छा है, तो कैसे होगा? दोनों साथ में चलने चाहिए ना आपके. और प्राइमरी बेसिक ये है कि आपको क्वालिटी तो बेचना ही है. या
मेरा पॉइंट ये है कि काफी ब्रांड्स ऐसी है जो कि उनकी क्वालिटी और एफिकेसी की वजह से वो एक ब्रांड बन गई है. So they have not created or they have not invested on brand.
हाउ डिड यू कम टू नो अबाउट दैट ब्रांड? कि वो आपको ब्रांड के बारे में पता कैसे चला?
इस्तेमाल किया और उसका
हाँ, इस्तेमाल कैसे किया आपने? कैसे आप इस्तेमाल करने गए उसको?
फेविकॉल अच्छा चिपकता है, राइट?
कैसे पता चला आपको? कैसे पता चला?
ब्रांडिंग किया है फेविकॉल ने।
किया ना सर, कम्युनिकेशन करेंगे ना. तो मैं कम्युनिकेट ही नहीं कर, मेरे पास दुनिया का सबसे बढ़िया कंप्यूटर है, बट मैं कम्युनिकेट नहीं करता हूँ, तो बैठा रहूंगा ना मैं, तो नहीं होगा ना कुछ. तो वो कभी नहीं हो सकता सर. कई लोग का ये मिथ है कि if I when I sell I'll communicate or I'll advertise. No, advertisement doesn't mean that you have to do on television or print. Advertising means you have to communicate. So if you don't communicate, how can you create a perception यार? आपके बारे में मुझे जानना हो तो आप कम्युनिकेट करोगे ना, भले टेलीविजन या बोर्डिंग में नहीं आओगे, बट आप मेरे से जितनी बार मिलोगे उतनी बार मेरा परसेप्शन क्रिएट होगा आपके बारे में. सो कम्युनिकेशन के बिना तो आप जा ही नहीं सकते हो. एंड कम्युनिकेशन वर्क्स, ये आप सोच लो, एडवर्टाइजिंग वर्क्स. ठीक है, या एंड आई कैन प्रूव दैट. लोग बोलते अच्छा, आप, मैं अगर आपसे पूछूं, मैं कई बार पूछता हूं ये कि शराब और सिगरेट की एडवर्टाइजिंग करनी चाहिए कि नहीं करनी चाहिए? नो नो, शुड आई डू इट और नॉट? व्हाई? ना ना, मेरे को भी बताओ, एडवर्टाइज करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए? क्यों एथिकली? क्या प्रॉब्लम है? क्या हो जाएगा उससे? क्या होगा उससे? अगर मैं एडवर्टाइज करूंगा तो क्या होगा? अरे एडवर्टाइज करूंगा तो क्या होगा? पीने से कैंसर होगा. एडवर्टाइजिंग करने से क्या होगा? एडवर्टाइजिंग करने से क्या होगा? मैं अगर एडवर्टाइज करता हूं तो क्या होगा? हाँ, अरे मैं क्या, ज्यादा बिकेगा, लोग बात पिएंगे, इसका मतलब एडवर्टाइजिंग काम करता है ना दोस्त. मेरा कहने का मतलब एडवर्टाइजिंग काम करता है, तभी तो आप रोकते हो. आप उसको रोक रहे हो, नहीं मत करो, वो लोग बिगड़ जाएंगे, पी लेंगे, तो इसका मतलब एडवर्टाइजिंग काम करता है यार. तो ये तो दिमाग से हटा ही दो कि एडवर्टाइजिंग काम नहीं करता है. एडवर्टाइजिंग सबसे पहले काम करता है ना, कि हम तो बाद में करेंगे सर. बाद में क्या करोगे? करता है तभी काम करता है ना, तभी तो आप रोक रहे हो मुझे. हाँ, या से
इनडायरेक्ट एडवर्टाइजमेंट तो होता है.
अरे एडवर्टाइज मीन्स कम्युनिकेशन, इनडायरेक्ट हो कम्युनिकेशन तो होना ही है. यस,
जैसे कोई ब्रांड है और ब्रांड ने जो कैटेगरी स्टार्ट की है, जैसे मान लो कि अभी स्पाइसेस में एंड दे स्टार्टेड विद सम अदर प्रोडक्ट्स आल्सो, सो दे कम अप विद द टी
हाँ,
एंड उन्होंने लोगो में कुछ चेंज किया है, ठीक है. सो डू दे हैव टू रजिस्टर दैट लोगो एंड ब्रांड अगेन?
yes, they have to, because there's a different design. You get a design copyright only of the thing which you produced in the documents. If you're changing it a little bit, you have to redo it, and it is advisable that you do it. सेफ हो जाओगे ना, सेफ गार्ड हो जाएगा. कितना होगा यार? बाद में पता चले यार ये तो वो वाला ब्रांड नहीं है, तो आप मल्टी मिलियनर हो गए, तो स्पाइस बेच के फर. सो इट इज बेटर ना. आप शॉर्टकट क्यों मार रहे हो? कोई शॉर्टकट नहीं, मैं बता रहा हूं आपको. नो शॉर्टकट, डू इट. ओके, या आई होप वी आर थ्रू. एनीबडी एल्स? लास्ट क्वेश्चन. या
लाइक अभी मेरा हम लोग फैब्रिक बिजनेस में है सर.
हाँ, कहाँ?
न्यू क्लॉथ मार्केट.
हाँ, 100%.
And we are planning to go to the garment business. And we are looking for a name from 2 months. But कुछ नहीं मतलब जो पसंद आता है वो already registered होता है. तो sir, any advice from you?
मेरा विजिटिंग कार्ड ले लेना. अब पता चला ना, 2 महीने लगते हैं, तभी सेशन में आए हो आप, है ना. हाँ, मेरा हो गया, सक्सेसफुल हो गया हूं मैं. ठीक है, so this will happen यार. So this is the way I was trying to tell you that how you think and how you work on it. So it is very difficult. See, you are the real example sitting here यार, है ना. और एक जना मुझे बोलता है मैं 200 नाम दे चुका हूँ. आप बिलीव कर लो बहुत मुश्किल है यार ऐसा समझना, ठीक है. सो इट हैज़ इट्स ओन वे ऑफ डूइंग इट. दैट्स व्हाई एक्सपर्ट्स गेट इन्वॉल्व और पीपल गेट इन्वॉल्व टू इट. दे विल एडवाइस यू. पर उसी के अंदर मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, आपको इमोशनली अटैच नहीं होना है कि यार ये मैं इमोशनली अटैच हूँ, यार ये नाम वो क्या है हमारे भगवान है उनके साथ होता है, तो यार वो भगवान मंदिर में, बिजनेस में नहीं, ठीक है ना. भगवान जैसे काम करो बिजनेस में, नाम तो कोई भी हो, ठीक है. यार
It was a wonderful interactive session, Sanjay sir. Thank you very much for your
My pleasure.
precious time and from your
my
busy
pleasure.
schedule.
My pleasure.
And friends, I will request you to fill up the feedback form. And second thing, you can scan here and follow us on social media like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter also. So please do it whenever you come to Ahmedabad Management Association. And all the programs, all the lectures, it is there on the website of AMA. So you can refer to the website of AMA, and this free lectures, mainly it is happening on Thursday, Friday, Saturday in the weekend. So for that you can come here repeatedly. We have good speakers and different subjects also with us, and there are no fees being charged. और उसके साथ में हम पहले तो आपको चाय भी पिलाते हैं अभी विंटर में, और समर में आएंगे आपको नींबू पानी मिलेगा अभी, है ना. सो प्लीज़ थैंक यू वंस अगेन फॉर कमिंग हियर, एंड प्लीज़ फिल अप द फीडबैक फॉर्म एंड ऑल्सो स्कैन एंड फॉलो अस ऑन सोशल मीडिया.
Thank you so much.